My Girl Life podcast is sponsored by Glamour Boutique. Glamour Boutique is the leading name in cross-dressing fashion and lifestyle with a physical location in New Jersey and, of course, their famous website. Be sure to use your My Girl Life discount code MGL15. And listen, I know they have your best interests at heart, so check them out. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Maddie's Message. Maddie's Message is a solo video version of My Girl Life podcast. Today, I wanted to share a summary of some milestones in my dressing journey. The journey from dressing privately in my home to being fully integrated into the dressing trans community to creating a public persona. I'm hoping this provides some insight for the newbies who are not sure what steps to take, or maybe they just need some ideas to choose from. I also hope this resonates with the veterans who are curious about other dressers' journeys, which I know I am, and that's a big part of why I started this podcast. So with that being said, let's jump in. I'm going to describe my journey in terms of phases. So phase one would be admiring other cross-dressers and trans women online, primarily on Flickr. I remembered I admired Heidi Fox and Stephanie Ward and some other very beautiful, presentable, and classy cross-dressers. I guess I emulated them along with my natural desire to present as that girl next door. I just found them to be well put together. Their presentation was amazing, and I just looked up to them. Now being friends with them is kind of wild, but I'm so grateful to be part of the same community. At this stage, I have to say my dressing was kind of a fetish thing and sexual. I wasn't familiar with the theory autogynephilia, but now that I am, I look back and I see that I identified with part of that theory, mainly the embodying of the object of your desire part, not the part where the theorist's theory doesn't believe in trans. I firmly believe that trans is a real thing. I was buying clothes at physical stores at that time, like H&M, Forever 21, and Kohl's. Bought a lot of stuff at Kohl's and a lot of jewelry as well. I didn't use Amazon back then at that point for privacy reasons, but now I get most of my stuff from there, mainly because I can order several sizes and several styles at one time, and they have a great return policy, and it's so accommodating. I was also too scared to try on clothing in boy mode, so I took stuff home, and if it didn't fit or I didn't like it, I would just return it. I still don't like trying on clothes in boy mode in stores. Getting out of the house would be phase two. So I would get a hotel and I would dress in the hotel. I would take pictures, of course, and then I would take a cab to wherever I was going because I didn't want my car to be tracked. That's how paranoid I was. But some of you can probably relate to that. You think everybody's watching and you're going to get caught every time. So I would take a cab to wherever I was going. And I typically went to an LGBTQ club called Trax. It's the biggest LGBTQ club in Denver. And you can kind of there's like 4 or 5 dance floors, and you can kind of get lost in the place. So you don't really have to talk to anybody. And I would get up and dance a little bit and just watch the people. And I would go on what they call First Friday, so the first Friday of every month. And the other nights have themes, but on First Friday, it's just a melting pot. It's a hodgepodge of everyone. And it's really fun to watch. It's fun to watch the energy and watching people that probably spend their week hiding part of themselves. And on that Friday, they can just be themselves and not worry about it. And it's fun. And you can feel that energy. So then at Trax, I met my first friend, Rachel, and she invited me to girls' night out. We may have talked and then met again at Trax. And then she finally invited me to girls' night out on Saturday nights, which was her and a group of dressers who would get together for dinner. And then they would typically go to Trax to dance. And so that gave Maddie a reason to be somewhere. She now had some friends, someone to be accountable to, and it just made it more real. So that was a big step, is being invited to that group. So I appreciate Rachel's effort there. I even spent a New Year's at Trax there by myself, and I had a good time. But I still wasn't brave enough to go to a mainstream place or really have anybody know about Maddie yet. So primarily my outings were LGBTQ establishments with crossdresser friends. So phase 3, I would say, are Vegas trips. Now these were fun trips where I wasn't worried about running into somebody I knew and fitting in a little more, because all the people and all the craziness, you're just gonna fit in. People who have been there and gone out, that you're not going to stand out nearly as much in Vegas. But still, I was afraid to fully dress and leave my hotel room. So I would put my makeup on and then put my girl clothes on and then put my wig in a backpack, put my boy clothes on over my girl clothes, and then wear a ball cap really low to kind of cover my face as much as I could. And I would race to my car and finish getting ready in the car. I was always praying that nobody was on the elevator when I got on it. And I was always trying to get a lower floor because that's how nervous I was. A lower floor means less time on the elevator. I know I've heard some of you mention the same thing. Phase 4 would be Facebook. And Facebook was a game changer for me. I finally was brave enough to put my picture on Facebook. And in fact, that's when I actually came up with the name Maddie. I needed a name for Facebook. Now that I think about it, I'm just remembering that. I had been dressing and doing this hotel tracks thing for about 5 months, 6 months. And then I wanted to get on Facebook and I needed a name. And so that's when Maddie Taylor came up. Facebook was a game changer. Started connecting with friends, obviously. And I got a feel for the community and the norms, and also learning about community events. And that's where I learned about Wildside. And Wildside is a huge game changer, a huge life changer. So that leads me to phase number 5, which is Wildside. Like I said, it was life changing for me, and I know it is for a lot of other girls. It was a huge confidence booster. And it was the first time I developed the confidence to get dressed and walk out of that hotel room fully dressed, get on the elevator. I was still nervous and hoping nobody was on the elevator, but I was fully dressed and I got on the elevator and went down. Because I think when you're out with a bunch of girls, when you're in a pack, you feel way more confident and secure. And that carries over to even when you're alone. At least it did for me. So that was a big step. I do have one funny thing. At my first Wildside, it might have even been my first couple, I would hide from the cameras because I thought if there was a picture of me taken and put on some website that the whole world would know, right? I mean, I think we've all been there. So I would hide from the camera and I drove everybody crazy, especially Anna Nolan Jeffries and Jamie Rhodes. I apologize to you girls. You were sweet, but and now we get together. They tease me because they know that you can't keep me away from the camera now. And I love that they tease me about it. Again, I said it was the first time I was confident enough to leave the hotel room dressed instead of finishing in the car. Not only was that a lot more convenient, it just felt good. It was a great feeling, and that carried over to when I got back home. Also at Wildside, a big step was meeting Gail York, who I consider our community den mother or sorority mom, if you will. She knew everybody and was loved by everyone. And once you were her friend, you gained a lot of credibility in the community. And she started introducing me to people. And that was also another step. Gail is a fierce defender of our community, and I love her. If you haven't gotten to know Gail York, you need to get to know Gail York. Phase number 6, there's a private social club in Denver. And so one Friday night, I decided to go and see if I could get in to the club. And so typically when I would meet my dresser friends for dinner, we'd go to Trax. I didn't stay as long as they stayed at Trax dancing. And on the way home, sometimes I would stop at a place called Shotgun Willie's, which is a strip club. And I have a lot of history with this strip club. I would go there when I needed a fake ID. That's how long ago. And I just admired these women so much. And I think that may have stoked part of my gender envy situation, which I found that term recently. and I think it fits gender envy. What's funny, as a guy, as a boy in boy mode, I couldn't get arrested in there unless you have a lot of money or drugs. You're not going to get any special attention in there, and I would have fun, but I had neither drugs or money. So, but when Maddie started going, it was a whole different story. Maddie would sit back from the stage; she wouldn't sit at the stage, and the dancers would come and actually sit by her and start talking to her. I guess I'm talking in third person. They would come up and talk to me, and not to get paid because I didn't do lap dances, but to compliment me on my shoes or my outfit or just to talk. And I got to know some of them, and it was really pretty surreal for me after idolizing these women. Obviously, they were different women. It was literally decades, difference in time. But it was really fun, and the bartender got to know Maddie, and it was just a fun experience when Maddie went to Shotgun Willie's. So one Friday night on the way home from Shotgun Willie's, I decided to go into this social club and see if I could get in. And this was another huge, I know I keep saying it, but a huge game changer and life changer because of the people I met at the club. I became friends with them, and it really introduced me into the non-LGBTQ community. And a lot of these people have become my best friends. And it changed everything for me, for Maddie, because now I was integrated in the general public who lived close to me and went to the places I would normally go in boy mode. And then I get to go now in Maddie mode. And I've come to prefer going to non-LGBTQ establishments. Don't get me wrong, I still love the LGBTQ establishments, but I prefer the non. And it was just kind of amazing to be able to just go out with this general public people who would normally be my friends in boy mode, and I could go as Maddie, and we had a great time. It did take a lot of courage to go there because I was scared to death, even more scared than going out in public, going down the elevator. And even if I got in, I didn't know anybody, but eventually I got to know everybody. It was amazing. So phase 7, I would say, is when I was outed as a male to Maddie's friends. So this was another game changer for several reasons. It kind of normalized the whole thing. And what happened was a friend of mine, a girl who I had met, and we hung out a lot. People knew us together, Maddie and her. And we went to a patio to have some beers, and she had her dog with her. And about 10 of the people from this new group of friends showed up. They were on a motorcycle ride or something. And they showed up, and of course they saw my friend, and they said hi to her. And it didn't take long for them to figure out who I was, that I was really Maddie. I was in boy mode. So once they figured out, I was kind of embarrassed and nervous, but they were all great about it. And it ended up being the best thing ever because now I can hang out with them without having to be dressed. And it allows me more time with them and allows me to bond further with them. And I got to tell you, I've felt very loved in my life. But this kind of love that they accept Maddie, and then they accept boy mode, and they don't care, and you get to be close. It's not fake. That's an amazing level of love. So I'm very grateful for that. Phase number 8 would be Kelly Perry and TG Rocktober. I got introduced to Kelly by Gail York, and we immediately hit it off. And of course, Kelly started TGR, which I've been able to go to most of them. And I call Kelly my cross-dressing Yoda because she's not only inspired me to improve my presentation and my techniques, but she's also provided some game-changing tips like cleavage, for instance. She's the one that showed me how to do that. And so I've learned a lot from her. We love each other. We get along great. In fact, I just got back from Nashville visiting Kelly, and it was a blast. By the way, Kelly and I are going to be doing a podcast episode every couple weeks under the title Tuck and Tell. I'm going to call Tuck and Tell what Kelly and I do. And so keep an eye open for that. We're going to do our first one in a couple weeks. And the last phase, I would say, is my Girl Life company that I created. And it started off as a website so that I could write blog articles. And I had built up quite a few friends on Facebook and had a decent readership.
out of that, and then decided to do podcasts last fall. And it was good timing because A, I had a lot of social connections, and B, I knew enough people to get great guests to interview. And the thing about the interviewing is I've wanted to have these conversations with these people for years. A lot of them I met at Wildside or TGR, and you get to talk to them a little bit, but you're usually at a club with loud music or there's a lot of people around and you don't really get into a deep discussion. And I had so many questions for everybody. So I love doing the podcast. I'm getting as much out of it as I guess anybody else. And I'm grateful to have the connections to do that. The podcast has grown to 20 to 25,000 monthly views or downloads, depending on where you get it. And I get wonderful compliments and emails almost every day. And that is the best reward of all. When somebody writes you and says, thank you, that explains something for me, or I relate to that, or I'm glad you're talking about this stuff. And that just makes me feel good. I do plan to expand who I interview, starting with some wives of dressers or trans women, as well as some non-LGBTQ people who are interested in learning more about our community and how they can find common ground. I know our community is under attack, but I believe you can't live your life hating half the country or half your city or half your friends, and criticizing with broad strokes and supporting everything blue with no regard to the subject is never going to improve the situation. Talking to the other side and listening more than talking will go a long way to improve things. And not yelling, listening is going to be the secret. Or you can go on hating everything and everybody on the other side, and you'll go crazy and nothing will get done. And even if it's one person at a time, I want to build bridges, not walls. So that's my journey in a nutshell. I hope it gives some of the new dressers a vision of how they can expand their social network in this community. And one of my main goals for my Grow Life business is to have a place for new people to connect with the community and learn, as well as insight and entertainment for the veterans of the community. And so that's it for today. Thanks for listening or watching. Don't forget to show me some love and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also like the episode if you did like it. And this tells me I'm doing something valuable and allows me to keep doing it. And remember, be bold, be kind, be you.